Dancing's done. I don't want to see either of you dance again, actually. But
you got the wrong guy. It wasn't me.
hello, everybody. I'm John Winne.
Jarod Bitterman.
Oh, Pernice.
And this is the Sci-Fi Rebellion Podcast. They were supposed to say it with me, but it's fun.
Supposed to do that
it's
as well.
fun because I knew that it wouldn't work, so I actually planned that out to go exactly how it went.
That worked so much less than I thought that was.
Never did it.
It worked exactly how I predicted
if I was supposed to do it.
I was like, wait, we're doing this all together. Oh, well, Winnie's already halfway through.
Cole
I was trying to look at you guys.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Rebellion Podcast show. There it is.
Wow, you actually
seconds late.
You said it at the same time.
Who cares?
Pretty much.
We did it pretty good. I think we did it pretty good.
Indeed.
Thanks.
That's a wrap.
That's been this episode's podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Just kidding. Just kidding. You know we got big content today, everybody.
Unsubscribe button.
You know that there is big.
Grab your trousers.
We're just on the horizon. We're just a boat in the sand. And it's the sand of time.
Anakin doesn't like it.
Yes, Anakin hates this.
Back.
And speaking of Anakin, this week's content might consist mostly of Bad Batch episode 6. That's right.
With very
6
very
episodes.
little Anakin to actually delve into.
But you can imagine him.
You can. Hayden Christensen's where the heart is, much like home.
Right in there. On the inside.
Right in your boobies.
No. Anakin is in. No.
I don't wanna.
Nope. Anakin is gone now. He's gone.
He's in my.
Cole, you gotta accept it. You gotta get over this. You can't keep.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Won't.
He's gone.
I can't. No.
All right. Well, I guess we should maybe talk about the. That was a great one of the best openers I think to date here on the Sci-Fi Rebellion. So,
all right.
What do we think of this episode?
We had a new episode. I'll let you guys take the reins on this. I'm merely going to be a passive observer.
A passenger on the train. Well,
this Oriental Express.
I'll give my thoughts. Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty good episode. Last week I said something about them kind of setting up a potential like bounty hunter type arc, and it seems like that is pretty much what they revealed as facts in this episode. So that was interesting to see. I'm wondering how much that'll play into their future actions, or whether this might be like sort of a one-time thing, especially with the outcome of their feelings about like the rebellion and the fact that they were potentially putting something into wrong hands. But to me, it's seeming more and more strange as we go on how disconnected almost the plots that are going on in these kind of more fun episodes are from like the actual main seemingly important storyline that we learned about in the early episodes, with everything on Camino and everything with Crosshair. It's very confusing to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I was like, all right, we didn't get it last episode, which I said they were kind of doing like an on and off thing, and I think now this is the third episode where we just haven't got anything for that, which is like, I'll take these small fun adventures, but I feel like that worked well for the Clone Wars because they were very episodic and not really like a one continuous story. Versus this, it just felt like they just kind of dropped it, and I feel like now if they just bring it back up closer towards the end, I'm like, what the hell were you doing this whole time?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I feel like they're putting in little things in each episode that are gonna amount to something later, but I think it's just like little bread pieces each episode alongside like some sort of mission. So I think we're just building up slowly to what the actual important part of it all is,
Crazy ass finale.
which is probably gonna be just like finding out what Omega is, or a little bit more of what she is
Mm-hmm.
and why she's so special.
Yeah. Well, because she's a girl.
And
Yes.
she's from New
She's a
Zealand
woman.
somehow. Space
New
New
Zealand.
Zealand.
She's
Hey.
the last of her kind.
When I just watched this last episode with my brother, and he was, I don't know why he was surprised, but he thought it was really funny, and he was also a little surprised that she also had a New Zealand accent when she spoke up. He was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." This little New Zealand girl running around.
Great. I
Just
love
the
it.
accent, yeah.
The accent's phenomenal.
What did we all
I like
think
that
about?
she now has.
Oh, Cole, you can. I'll let you finish up on this thought before we.
No,
go
no,
into-
it's fine. It's whatever. Nope, my
Well,
thought's gone. I'm gone. I'm
so-
leaving this podcast.
So be it then.
I'm
I
starting my
mean,
own podcast.
It's
called
called
the Cole
Shit
Sci-Fi Rebellion Cole Show. It is what it
Shit
is. It is what it
Rebellion.
is. I was just gonna say I like that she has a weapon now, so that way she can actually do some damage. And that
Yeah.
scene of her just like firing it loose in the bar and straight up almost killed people, and they were just like, "No, you have a blast. You go do you, Omega." And she's like, "Out. I might try to kill somebody." I was like, "All right, maybe go outside."
Yeah, that's a pretty intense weapon too.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like a pistol blaster would be infinitely easier,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they
she
gave-
might be able to already thrive with. But
Mm-hmm.
that lady was right. Those noodly arms aren't gonna get her anywhere with that
Yeah.
bow.
Mm-mm. Well, maybe
Lizzo is.
she's like the new Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Being
to
trained
see
by
Lizzo fighting, dude. You know what I mean? They're kind of setting that up with her going ham on that bow. I feel like eventually we're gonna see her throw hands
Mhm.
with someone or like help the Bad Batch fight someone, and it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, I could see that.
We shall have to see. I know that her like whole race, I think they're called the Trandoshans or something, are like a bunch of like elite hunters and whatnot. So obviously they would vary in terms of morals, but I'm sure she's probably well equipped to take down some foes. Whether it's
For
gonna be
sure.
the Bad Batch or the Bad Batch's enemies is the question.
This
Yeah.
is the
Well,
question.
I feel like she'll end up liking them and
Mhm.
being on their side.
I got less shady vibes from her this episode than I did last episode.
Yeah,
Definitely.
more like stern grandma vibes.
Yeah.
Like,
Like Gandalf if he was a lizard and had no magic powers.
Lizard Gandalf. Disney, take notes.
But with
Disney.
no magic.
Gandalf.
Write it down, write it down.
These are important things.
Very important. Yeah.
What I was gonna say earlier.
So we'll have to see.
What did we all think about the reintroduction of one of our favorite characters from the most recent season of the Clone Wars? I mean, everyone loved these two girls.
Oh, man.
It was, I mean, across it hasn't been more similar in as far as people's minds and their opinions on something than with these two girls, and just how much everyone loved them, and every episode they were in the Clone Wars. It was just everyone loved these people, right, guys? Right?
They're just annoying.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think that they're probably the most well-developed and likable Star Wars characters we've ever seen in terms of any Star Wars medium. That going all the way back to Luke and Leia and Han. The charisma and their attitudes and just the fun pluckiness. They're almost like too annoying that it makes them not annoying. I just couldn't be. To be honest, I'd hope that they just drop Bad Batch and continue with the Trace and Rafa.
Yes.
Beautiful names too.
Yeah.
Love the Bangalore hair. I just everything about them is just so completely perfect.
True.
And I just never want to see anybody else in Star Wars again now that they've been introduced back.
I couldn't.
That
agree
doesn't
more.
answer your question.
That is just 100%.
Yeah,
Jared, what did you
I
think about these
legitimately
ladies?
said, "God damn it."
I I just said in my notes, Sassy Sisters return. Please no spin-off show. I don't like them.
Please. That's
That-
probably Disney. Take more notes. Take more notes.
Continue. Keep the pencils out. Oh, dude, it was just so
this is
ridiculous
gonna be
to
an important
me.
one.
I think something I said that I sincerely hope is the case on one hand and is not the case on the other hand. On the one hand, I want Disney to use this opportunity with these characters again to attempt to kind of redeem them and maybe make them more likable or better characters. That's the one thing that I could see happening. The other thing that I would also be kind of fine with is if we just never hear from them again. I think that would be equally okay in my book. But I could definitely see Disney
We're
going
running
for
into
the
a Rose Tico situation.
yes.
Do we just drop her completely, or do we try to make her work? And if we go the Rise of Skywalker route, we just drop her completely.
Just throw her in the background of a shot, maybe give her a line.
I have space things to do, so you'll have to have this fun adventure without me. That takes up 90% of the screen time. Yeah.
Maybe they just go on a mission that isn't successful one day, and that's why we just don't hear of them anymore.
I like it. I like it.
Reasonable.
I would be completely okay with this.
Sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. Oh my god. Ideally we're never gonna see them again in the series.
Yeah. Can
I'm
we
a
They
huge
did
fan.
fly away, so
Can we consider for a moment that this channel is now like 3 for 3 on theories? Like what this is the best theory channel that's on YouTube. If you're coming looking for Star Wars theory, this is the place.
We're accurate as hell.
I feel just totally vindicated in my thoughts now. Wrecker clearly demonstrating after yet another head injury that he is ready to follow orders. Just about. He's just about there.
Only because he's a good soldier. Who's a good soldier?
Who's gonna
Who's a
follow
good
orders?
soldier?
Who's
yeah. Oh.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that definitely solidified all of Winnie's little thought process there from way back.
Literally the first time he hit his head when he's like, "Am
Yeah.
I diving too deep into this, or is this a legitimate thing?" And then we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, still has a headache. Maybe this is something." And then this episode when he bonked his head, was just on the ground like, "Good soldiers, good soldiers." I was like, "Oh no!" When you nail on the head from the get-go.
Hell yeah.
Dude,
that's pretty wild.
That was a good one.
Felt good.
I'm hoping I'm right up with Omega.
We'll see. I don't have a theory, but I can
Just throw
sure
one
as hell
out.
make one.
Throw one out there.
Okay.
Just
I
make a
think
theory.
that Lizzo is working with the Gonk droid to overthrow Palpatine. Now, this isn't confirmed. I do have some insiders at Disney.
You always
Where's the
go
evidence?
so big.
What's big about that? How is that not a down-to-earth, realistic theory? I really don't understand why you guys say I'm always
don't know.
shooting for the stars here. Well, we're in Star Wars. Of course I'm gonna shoot for the stars. Come on.
Come on.
That theory's
Come on.
ridiculous. We already know that all Gonk droids have aligned themselves with the rebellion, so seeing even one step out of line call that we both know that's a ridiculous theory. However, I do have to agree with you as
I
we
just think
saw
that
that we saw
thematically works
we
well.
saw that moment when Lizzo looked at the Gonk droid and blinked 3 times in Morse code, in which we could break it down. It was actually binary, and she had written out a complex, even in just 3 blinks, the message was like 3 pages long, because binary is confusing. I think this is all based in science.
Exactly.
And she said, "Gonk, we need to take down Palpatine. Please understand that I can't go with you right now, as we both know that your brethren are, of course, part of the rebellion.
Are
So, who knows?
Tied up
She
King Lizzo.
she was blinking so much.
It's I think if you go to the time clip 323 of the episode, Gonk Droid says something along the lines of Gonk,
I think
and in reverse, and if you slow back and you put it in reverse, he actually says, Albertine is my master, which is like you'd think that's too many syllables for just Gonk, but because of the
Yeah.
binary code, he can flip it, and therefore it only
Beep
sounds
de
like
boop bop
Gonk.
bop, and you're in.
Yep.
Beep de boop bop
Bop.
bop.
It's on that. You almost have it. It's only on the
You're
final
in.
bop is the in. Beep the boop bop. You're not in.
So I would say out of our three theories, like I don't want to, pat myself on the back here, but I would definitely say I'm probably the most accurate. Just spitballing here. We've seen very little evidence to support either of your theories. Meanwhile,
Well,
I feel like mine's been at the forefront of the show.
I mean, I've already had 2 theories correct here. We have the Wrecker theory. We have the Dave Filoni becoming a lead director on Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace
I
and
predicted
Gromit.
both of those. Yeah, I mean, we all know about Wallace.
Yeah.
It's just.
And I
mean,
just
it's
think that
coming
you were
soon.
incredibly lucky with those predictions.
Wow.
Versus mine's a lot more thought out, detailed, so on and so forth.
What gives you the right to say such a
There
thing?
you go.
We're moving on from this series. I'm losing confidence in a second. All right. Yeah.
So besides that, Jared, did you have any? You got anything that you? I don't know why I keep asking you. Fuck you, Jared. Cole, what did you think about something? What did you think about the ending? The ending bit when they're on the ship, the sisters.
So, as you can tell, my favorite Star Wars characters, Trace and Rafa, get a little snippet at the end where they're like, "Yo, we picked up this thing, and it's a good thing. We did all the work ourselves. We definitely didn't have anybody helping us out that then gave us the key to the puzzle. Otherwise, we would walk away empty-handed." They said, "Hey, we got this thing. You're in a robe. Feel like you could use this thing." And now that got me speculating. It's behind the robe. Now in Star Wars, typically, we've seen robes applied to 2 different groups of people. We've seen the Jedi, and for some reason, politicians. So, could be a politician, like Winnie might have suggested in some off-screen notes that it could be Bail Organa, since they're looking, Trace and Rafa are talking about how they're starting a rebellion, or that they're a part of the uprising rebellion. So it could very much be Bail Organa. However, my brother, a bigger Star Wars nerd than I am, had said that R7, the astromech droid that was in the ship, actually belongs to Ahsoka. And I thought to myself, well, Ahsoka sure likes robes as much as the next Jedi. And Disney loves throwing Ahsoka in things right now. Like, it's like, even though Ahsoka wasn't made by Disney, it's like their big character that they like to use to, like, oh shit, Ahsoka's in this, I'm gonna go watch Rebels. Oh, Ahsoka's in this, I'm gonna go watch Mandalorian. Like, it seems like they're really proud of it. And the new Clone Wars season was pretty much almost entirely Ahsoka. They cut a lot of different story arcs that were supposed to happen, but they just made it more Ahsoka focused. So, I'm probably leaning towards Ahsoka, but I would not be surprised if it was like Bail or Organa, or I can't think of anybody else that like be big or thematically important.
I'm pretty much 100% on that being Bail Organa, or at least I'm 100% on it not being Ahsoka, because they address it as a he, like the person that they're talking to in the hologram.
Did they say that?
Yeah,
I
they
don't
did.
remember
They
that.
did. Rewatched the episode, and that was something that I was looking for, and they were like, "Let's see what he thinks," or something like that. But they do address it as a he.
Okay.
So I'm with the robes too. That is kind of exactly
much
how
be Bail.
Bail's. He always has that like really heavy type robe in the Clone Wars. So I think
Yeah.
that's him. And with the whole rebellion thing, makes sense that they'd be reporting. It seems kind of weird that they thought he would be so interested about knowing about some clones that were defective or whatever. That seems odd. Other than maybe they're just like, maybe you could recruit these guys.
Yeah, like they could be some freedom fighters or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I mean, whether it's Ahsoka or Bail Organa, I'd be equally intrigued to.
Hello? Cole.
Hello. He is
I was
dropped
worried.
off.
I was worried mine
Just
was
dropped
broken.
off.
Can you
Cole
hear me?
just briefly broke
Can I be
away.
heard?
You can be heard.
You can be heard. You can be seen.
Aw.
But for a moment there, it was just Jarod and I patiently waiting.
You were
Disney-
you were paused.
Jarod and
Disney
Jarod was so
knew-
still that
Disney
I thought
knew
my
that I
shit
was
broke.
spitting straight facts. Disney
Dude,
knew I was spitting straight facts, and they didn't want anything to be spoiled. So they
They were like, cut him off.
They
Cut
cut
off
it
the
off.
stream.
they cut me off. Yeah.
Find his IP address.
Don't let him do it.
Cole speaks no longer.
Google, show me this man's balls.
I'll show them to you right now.
Nope.
Gosh.
Nope. Sit down.
Today we're gonna see Cole's balls on screen. Sit down and do not be humble, as Kendrick once said.
Ken.
Yikes.
Yikes! Am I right?
I mean, besides
So-
that, we could give it an overall rating. Was there anything else that was pertinent that you guys noticed?
I do have a last thought, but I'll let one of you guys go first if you have any final thoughts on the episode.
I was just gonna say that overall I liked this episode for the most part, but I really enjoyed the part where they were using old droids with the commander droid to fight all the other droids, and I was like, yeah, that's a nice little scene there.
Reminding
like
me of the Star Wars Rebels episode. I watched very little of that show, but there was an episode where they also activated old battle droids.
That's in
to
Clone
fight
Wars.
the stormtroopers.
And they're like just
Oh,
so
to fight
dumb.
storm
They're just like,
troopers.
all right,
Oh,
following
damn.
orders.
Yeah. Yeah, that one guy's like, wait,
Yeah.
what are we doing? And
Yeah, he's like,
"You're-"
all right, I'm
just-
following orders.
he just jumped on the back of the one guy. He was just going like that.
I just love hearing their banter so
They're
much.
So funny.
I was
one of
wondering.
the underrated aspects of the show.
I was wondering what they'd be up to now that they're all just activated there, and then their like commander just left. They're all just gonna be like, I guess we'll hunt down all
Every
the
time
police
somebody
on
walks
this
in
planet.
the door, they're just like,
Yeah. They just slowly try to overthrow the planet.
Yeah.
Like, we
They
were
come
told to
back.
attack. We will
That's
attack
it.
till we die. But any final thoughts from you, Winfred?
Nothing really.
Think hard.
I mean,
Really
again, it was one of those episodes
Really
that
hard.
seemed like not super vital. There was the whole Trace and Rafa set up clearly for rebellion stuff in the future. And then somewhat of a
Mhm.
learning plot for the Bad Batch to be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing so much illegal stuff, or not doing it without understanding exactly what we're getting into. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it was
Yeah.
a mid-tier episode. I really hope we get to see the conclusion to the story of all those droids on that planet. I'm hoping to see those droids. I mean, the intelligence that they have to have, right? They probably have so much information in them. So maybe they'll just develop a new society of higher
Dude.
intelligence droids.
Well, I think because they're mostly like just the normal ones, I think they're kind of dumb. But I would still love to see a society of these like these old Clone Wars battle droids that are just chilling. And they're like,
Hanging
well, we
out.
lost our commanders, so now we're just kind of hanging out, living life.
Dude,
I
they're
think it'd be
rebelling
fun to-
droids. They
Yeah.
just go out and try to live life. but
Go out, hit the
actually,
town, sip some oil, a bit of lean,
little something, something.
a little something, something.
Get greased up.
But yeah, no, I agree with. I agree with Winnie in the sense that it definitely felt like another mid-tier episode. Like the moments of the show that I've loved so far that were like, this is something that I would easily recommend to everybody, I felt like has been kind of dropped at this point. So whether that's much more like subjective kind of personal thing or whether that's something how a lot of other people feel, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just a little disappointed that we haven't really seen much from Crosshair or the transition from the Republic to the Empire. Just a lot of more like smaller stuff and more focus on Bad Batch, which is obviously the focus of the show. But I don't know. I'm not loving the show. Like Clone Wars, my favorite Star Wars piece of media. This show, it's a fun watch, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, if you like Star Wars, you have to watch this show. I'm like, if you like the Clone Wars, you'll probably like this.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty much there with that.
I'm not enamored by it. So hopefully it picks up a little bit. Let me look up how many episodes are in it.
Great vernacular usage.
I want to know if we're near it. Thank you. I appreciate that. My vernacular is immaculate.
Vernacular is
How
strong.
many
I think it's
episodes
16.
in
I think I read.
Season 1 of Bad Batch. No.
300.
What? What do you know? What episode are we on?
6.
6.
Okay. That makes me. I was gonna say. I was like, the first result I see on Google, it says number of seasons 1, number of episodes 6, and I was like, that was the finale. I was like, that was horrible. No, it
What
does
a
say.
finale!
It does say 16 episodes. The finale date is in August, so
16.
we got time.
We got 10
wiggle
episodes to
room. We're
rope
less
it
than
on
halfway through.
in, pull in the plot, add
There's
some
just some
Jedi to
building.
it.
There's
So-
some building.
Sci-Fi Rebellion will last at least that long.
Exactly that long.
Who knows? We could just die after that. Who knows?
We could
World
die
ends,
at any point.
We end.
I saw a bird yesterday.
That's very true.
And he got hit by a car. Death. At any time. At any place.
You'd think
It's
that
it's a very obvious thing a lot of times because the feathers go. Oh,
That is true, yeah.
you'd think that a bird with the capability of flight would
With the power of
they
flight,
far
I
enough
mean,
like if I was a bird personally, I wouldn't be going down. Like if I could go hundreds of feet in the air, I probably wouldn't stick to that lower 5-6 feet range. Just
Seems-
due to the amount of obstacles that there are.
yeah.
All
You'd
these
think.
land-dwelling creatures.
Yeah, and then maybe if you're looking for worms, like hit the forest, not like the city streets.
Any worms around here? Any soil?
but they know if they stay there, they can get like a pizza slice, man.
Yo,
That is true.
Depend what kind of bird we talking. I don't
What do
think
you want,
pigeons could pick up a
Berries or a pizza slice?
pizza. From a bird's perspective, I'm pretty sure they would just want food, but I could be wrong. I'm not a bird, and nor do I have the capability of flight, so it's hard for me to say.
Do you have the power of flight?
I'd like to move on
Shazam!
from the subject. Add this effect and lightning and
Yeah, no, it's
turning
done.
into
It's done.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It looks
Yeah.
great.
Alright.
Right now, you look
Ooh-wee,
exactly. Yep.
Shazam. Thanks.
I hope everyone just listens
Wow,
to this. So.
it's so convincing.
Really, for just our audio listeners, are getting a lot here.
Well, I mean,
So yeah,
let's rate this. Let's rate it. I'm thinking.
can't finish without a
Hmm.
rating.
All right, Bad Batch, season 1, episode 6. If I had to read through this book, the worst case scenario survival handbook, travel. If I read this book and then went on a expedition by myself, I would have to know how to lose someone who is following me. That's how I'd rate the episode.
Okay. Out of all the situations,
Yeah.
that's what
I would have to. I'd be like,
it's
oh,
likens to the
I'm
most.
in the forest. I read the book, but now I gotta recall. How do I lose someone in the forest if they're following? You know.
That's fair. That's an apt description. Jared?
If you went to the store and bought 2 packs of gum and made a gum chang.
Is that it?
whole-
Is that
the whole thing would stretch to maybe across the street.
That's
it?
just.
Wow.
I feel like that was just a fact.
That's a lot of gum.
Did you measure that? Jared has he's been doing math over there on gum, and he's like, gum facts. You've subscribed to gum facts.
Welcome.
Gum fact number 69. All right.
Reasonable.
Really scraping the bottom of the barrel for for these
What do you
ratings.
mean?
That was a great one.
I thought mine was pretty descriptive.
It was descriptive for sure.
Try.
Just how far down you had to reach for that description. So
What do you want from me?
better, more, better
More.
content,
More.
a quality word usage. For my rating, I suppose, if this show was a pizza shop, and you walked into said pizza shop and you said, "Hey, how do you feel about Bad Batch?" I would imagine the manager would say something along the lines of, "You can get 3 toppings on your slice of pizza."
The pizza.
And that's that. So,
Wow.
what those 3 toppings are, I'm not gonna say.
We leave
It's
the
open-ended.
endings very anonymous. Like you're not quite sure when it ends.
I was hoping
Nope.
that Jared. I was hoping yours was just gonna end at the beginning half. I was like that would have been incredible.
You could
if you take 2
make a
packs of
chain
gum,
of gum links.
and you make a chain out of them, and it was that.
That's it. That's
it.
my rating.
Amazing. Well,
Well, I
here's
think
hoping they can.
We're nailing them now.
Yeah, for sure. Here's hoping they can, get this back on track.
Here's
I feel
hoping
like
that-
there's a lot of potential for sure.
Here's hoping that they can make a chain of gum that reaches 2 streets long,
True
Too
that.
too
or
much
maybe
gum.
6 toppings on a pizza,
'Cause they
or
just,
whatever the hell Winnie said.
Well, I would
Or
have bought more gum.
maybe how to make animal traps, which would be much more relevant when you're in the forest versus having to lose someone following you.
And useful.
Well,
Yeah, usually when I'm in a forest, I only have like 5 people following me. So
Listen,
That's
if
odd.
you were ever in need and have a lot of gum, I bet you wouldn't have thought to make a rope. Gum.
yeah, whatever. I fully agree with that, Jared.
Gum trade.
I couldn't be more on board with that statement.
And I would be there to let you know that that's not gonna be in your book.
I'd have to look. I'd have
Sometimes
to
you
look.
just gotta live life.
That's very similar to how to
like
remove a
it.
leech. So I could probably use my leech
How to
removal
remove a
knowledge.
leech. Are you gonna string together
How to
leeches?
find water on it. This
for
is a
rope?
very
You could.
odd book.
use that as a rope. That is a very odd book.
They're
Very
like when you get on a plane, make note of all exits and count the number of rows between your seat and the nearest exit. This is for people who are like hypochondriacs and they're like, at any time I could
They're
have to
terrified
survive.
of life.
I need to know how to get out of any situation. Every place is a jungle with predators. All
Yeah.
right. So clearly, we've run out of content to talk about.
As it were, there was a certain lack of content this week. So we've decided to actually shift our focus to something that is very, very soon now. In fact, as you watch this, you may have already seen the first episode of this show, and it's called Locust, the new Disney show about
Loki.
the 7-year cycle of the locust. Yeah. They're also making
But
another
also
show called
Loki
Loki.
is
Yeah.
coming out.
Yes, Loki.
Loki.
Which-
Yeah, that one.
much less interesting than the Locust show. If
Yeah.
I'm being
Yes.
honest.
Not nearly
Time
as
travel, cicadas.
sleeping underground for 7 years, potentially turning into a female at times. You know, these
Some magical
it's
mischief.
a tough choice
Dude,
between
all
these two
sorts,
things.
all sorts of things.
I think it. Okay, well let's
Very true. Very
let's
true.
get into the background of Loki as a character. Like maybe just go through some of his historical presence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then talk a bit about our thoughts and feelings towards him at given times and where we think this show might take him. Cole, would you like to begin?
Okay. I can. I sure can. I have no thoughts.
Well, that's a
No
good thought.
thoughts.
Wow. I hadn't even thought of that.
No.
He
Yeah, exactly.
is
Most people don't.
empty
I
inside.
no nothing in my noggin going on. Loki is a frost giant who was stolen by Anthony Hopkins as a wee lad. And then Anthony Hopkins says, "You will never be king because Thor has blonde hair and you have black hair." And Loki says, "That's kind of fucked up. I like horns." And Odin said, "No." So
You can't be horny.
can't be horny all the time. So I just really hope we get to see more horns from Loki.
So then
Yeah.
Loki got thrown in horny jail for like
He did.
10 years time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and yet, four score.
So yeah, on a much more serious note, Loki I think started out fantastic, easily the best part of Thor, and a great first villain for the Avengers to fight. Very charismatic, very mischievous, but you could like see him being redeemed, and it seemed like Marvel recognized that that was about the only good villain they had come up with at that point, and used him consistently.
Yeah.
To which when I loved him. Loved, much like how Disney loves Ahsoka, just throwing
People-
Ahsoka into stuff. They
people
love
love
throwing
him,
Loki.
too.
So when I saw him die in Infinity War, I was like, wow, that was a brutal death, and B, a good end to his saga, as he died doing a very noble and heroic act.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad we can finally lay Loki to rest.
No.
And then in Endgame, hang on. Okay, there we go. And then in Endgame, he survived. And I was like, cool, kind of done with Loki. But now he's dealing with like time travel, and the show looks really interesting and unique. So I'm actually excited for the show, but it hadn't been until I had seen some promotional material for it. Beforehand, when I just heard the news, I was like, I could not care less.
Yeah, it's such a crazy thing, honestly, to see him survive this long as a character and pretty much remain like beloved for the most part by the fans. Like it's a hard thing, especially when he's an asshole like 99% of the time. And then the 1% he's like saying funny shit or getting beat up by Hulk. And everyone's like, "Yay, good." But I'm so excited for this. Personally, I've loved Loki's character throughout. I remember watching Thor for the first time and Avengers. That was just insane. He was really just an excellent villain.
Such a great movie.
They showed him as being like sane, but at the same time, like power is clearly the driver behind some of his insanity. And the fact that he can always somehow manage to find power again and again, like we saw in Ragnarok, that was all hilarious moment when Thor walks into the arena there, and it's like, oh wait. But yeah, there's so many moments that I can remember with Loki that are just like some of the prized things that are prized moments, honestly, in the MCU history. So I sincerely hope that they do his character justice and maybe bring it back around for like a full, complete redemption, kind of like what we were getting at the beginning of Infinity War, but it got taken away from us.
And snap that shit down a little too fast. It was like, I meant more like a neck snap rather than a snap. But fair enough. To each their own.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Loki a lot more in this show, and I think it's gonna be really good. My hopes are high. I just hope it's gonna be as gnarly as we've seen and different, because I like when they try to do something different.
Definitely feels very different.
It definitely feels different, feels fresh. But I also like Loki as like a character. He's pretty dope. You never can quite trust which side he's gonna flip in the end. He pretty much seems like he's just gonna go for whoever he thinks is gonna win, unless he's like defending his brother in the end.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see him fending for himself for a little bit without a constant babysitter of somebody really freaking powerful. So
maybe he'll be a bit more malicious, since it seemed like his brother was always like the North Star that kind of like got him back on track. But now that, like you said, he's acting solely for his individual. And also we have to think that this isn't the Loki that went through Thor 2 and Ragnarok and Infinity War. This is Loki right after Avengers, where he got his ass beat trying to conquer the world and is now just thrown into the situation.
Just pretty nuts.
Yeah.
He hasn't learned a lot.
He hasn't learned. Yeah, he's still more of a.
You know, we did it once. Right?
He'll learn the same lessons in a much more Owen Wilson kind of way.
Yeah. You think he'll be like good by the end of the series, or better?
Maybe. Good and not the way that we're used to from Loki.
Okay. All right. It'll be interesting to see if they try to flip him to like a hero almost.
I hope not. I'm just, as much as I love like villains learning and growing as people, sometimes I'm like, a villain is a villain.
Yeah, like, I think he should never be fully trusted. He can be trusted in a moment, but not like at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't want to see too many of these villains end up becoming like anti-heroes or straight up heroes. Like even Zemo and Falcon the Winter Soldier, I was like, you didn't try to fuck them over once. I was like, this seems like, as much you say you hate super soldiers and you're letting one with a metal arm just run around. So I don't know. I feel like if anything, we're probably going to get like a more Thor 2 kind of version of Loki, where he's still definitely on the bad side, but he's like, hey, I got to help people out. Because, you know, like you said, he's good at heart. Yeah.
Well, everyone,
they're comfortable as hell, but
while Cole is actively putting away his underwear, I've decided to gather you all here in order to apologize for a notable lack of a certain part of this episode, which happens to be the latter third of this episode. Now, a certain turn of events took place which were out of the control of any of our hands. Some software decided that it was done. It was done, and it was time to turn into a robot. And it took with it the ability for my computer to record audio. So you know what? Who cares? Who cares? No one cares. Did anyone listen this far? That's the question. We could just not tell any of our friends that this happened, and then they'll be like,
find out how far they actually listened.
Did you watch it? So this is for the real ones out there. Just know that there's most of the podcast, and enjoy that. Enjoy that. Really know that was the better part. And
today's this
Shamalama,
week's
shamalama.
challenge is to enjoy the end equally as much, despite the severe lack of content.
yep,
Today's challenge is to just enjoy that part equally,
equally.
and that's how we'll know you're a real one.
If you're a real gamer.
If you love the fact that I'm putting away laundry.
And with that, we should all
Yeah.
make a beautiful sound for this person listening. I'm gonna make this sound.
Jarod? Okay. All right.
What you got? What sounds you got, huh? What sounds you got, Cope?
We're gonna get close for this one.
Too loud.
And now
Orgy.
Oh.
I think we should
Okay,
start having
that
brief
in.
excerpts from Wallace and Gromit at the end of the podcast. Just one page each week. We could cover the
Oh.
whole book in a year.
I think so.
And then review the book.
Well, everyone, again, enjoy what's there, and don't think about how bad this podcast really is. Just think about how much you love this podcast and how great it is.
It's so good.
That's what you should be
All the thoughts
focusing
that you have running through your head, do the exact opposite.
on.
And I mean
you're
that for
already
everyday
thinking,
life as well.
Oh, just for everything. Okay. With
For
that,
everything.
have a backwards, sideways, left, right, side, down in the middles, left again, right, and is that music I hear? Oh,
Wait,
it is.
it's a sick beat.